Welcome to the Brand Gravity Show, where we explore the intersection between branding and psychology. I'm your host, Kaye Putnam, psychology-driven brand strategist, and today's episode was fascinating to me. If we boil down what a brand is, I like to say that I'm helping people figure out who they are and then how to express that. And one part of how we express ourselves as a brand, particularly if we're creating content, showing up online, or are bringing some aspect of a personal brand into our business, is how we dress, the colors that we use, the style that we use. And my guest was incredibly illuminating today. I can't wait to share her with you. Heather Riggs is the founder of Her Style LLC. As a 15-year certified image consultant and color specialist, Heather helps ambitious women all over the world show up and sell confidently on camera using color psychology and aligned personal style. You can tap into her genius by getting started with her free 5-minute personal style quiz to dial in your own swoon-worthy signature look. I will put that link in the show notes, and you can also connect with her on Instagram. She's at Heather Riggs Style. Your time is precious. Let's dive into our conversation. For those who haven't had the pleasure yet, what does the business journey look like for you so far?
It's been interesting. So to date myself, I've been doing this for a really long time. I originally was certified as an image consultant and color specialist back in 2007. So I've been doing this work for about 15 years now and worked mostly with clients in person, which was such a joy. I loved that. And then of course, COVID happened, right? And so I was like, okay, we need to figure out a new structure for this business. So I revamped all of my services and launched online probably about a year and a half ago. So now I've been venturing into the online space, which has been so fun. I've been able to work with clients all over, from Hawaii to London to Australia and the Philippines. Like, it's been an incredible adventure getting to work with so many other women and different types of women in all different phases of their businesses and personal styles.
Love it. For the unacquainted, what does a style consultant actually do? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I work with a couple different types of people. I primarily work with individuals who are ready to refresh their wardrobes and they just don't know where to start, right? A lot of times we make big transitions in our lives, whether it's motherhood or changing careers or even relocating, and our closets just don't work for us anymore. And so I tend to work with women in their 30s and 40s who are a little bit more serious about investing in quality pieces and things that are flattering to them. So that's the core of what I do. And then I also work with a lot of people who are building personal brands just like you and want to make sure that they're showing up, not only looking their best, but feeling their most confident, right? So when you're showing up in front of an audience and a camera, you want to feel good about yourself and make sure that you're aligned with the vision for your brand. So I kind of take those two different avenues with my business, and I love getting to work with different people depending on what their goals are and how that I can best serve them.
Amazing. I'm so excited to dive into this topic with you because I haven't had an in-depth conversation yet about personal style. And it's such an important part of expressing yourself, especially in the current online business building world. We are asked to show up. We're asked to be visible. We're asked to be leaders when we want to grow our brands, whether you're a coach, consultant, author, whatever your business is. And style, like it or not, plays a really big role, and it can feel really overwhelming for people. So if somebody is an entrepreneur and they're trying to figure out what their personal style is, what are some of the first steps that you take them through?
Yeah, so I actually have a really amazing free personal style quiz. I know you're a quiz person. You have a brand style quiz. I have a personal style quiz. So that's a great place for anyone to start because there are so many different components that go into creating your own unique signature look. It's not just about our visual preferences. A lot of times that's where people get stuck. They like a certain look, but it doesn't necessarily always equate to their day-to-day life, what their needs are, what their personality is. And we want to make sure that we're bringing what's from the inside to the outside and really communicating that effectively through our style. So there are a lot of different elements that you want to make sure you're considering as you're dialing that in. So my quiz is a really great place to start. It gives people their top 3 personal style types. And then I know you also love Pinterest. I have tons of Pinterest style boards to really help visualize what those different components are. And then I have a 4-step signature style process that I walk people through. So that's part 1. Then the next step is looking at creating kind of a combination of your top 2 to 3 styles. And Pinterest is a great way to do that. Start pinning different looks that you love and see what the common threads are in those styles. Another thing you can do is pull out the top 10 pieces that you wear often in your wardrobe. You know, you've probably heard the statistic that most women wear 10% or less of what's actually in their closet. So that can tell you a lot about what works for you, whether it's qualities of fabrics or if you're really drawn to certain colors or how you combine your looks together, going through, pulling out your top 10 favorite pieces and then looking at, again, what are the commonalities? What are the style values that really resonate most for you? And then, of course, lining that up with your calendar. You know, before I had my son, I had a much more dramatic and elegant style. And now being a mom of a messy 4-year-old, I've had to really dial that back and tune into a lot more natural elements. So being conscious of where you are in your life and what's actually going to work for you when you're going to get dressed in the morning. There's nothing worse than having a closet full of beautiful looks that don't serve you for your actual needs.
Oh my gosh, I have a bajillion avenues and threads that I want to pull on from there, but I just wanted to laugh with you for just a minute because I'm wearing like this, I guess, elegant or classic blazer with a little bit of drama up here in the top, but I'm literally wearing yoga pants on the bottom. So.
Well, this new era of Zoom has really changed things too. People are dressing so much more casually, especially for work, than we ever did before. So there's a lot of changes happening right now in personal style and what's appropriate too as a brand.
Yeah. Things are definitely shifting. I'm also a mom to 2, so I can resonate very deeply with that. You said a phrase that caught my ear, style values. What are those?
Yeah, they're so different and personal for everyone. So for some of my clients, they really value high quality pieces. They want to invest in items that are made of high quality fabrics that are going to have that durability and last for a long time. I have other clients who are more conscious of affordability and they want to be able to have affordable fashion that still looks really elegant, but maybe they're less concerned about the quality and they want to just make sure that they can get the look that they want within their budget. Other clients are really into sustainable fashion and buying things that are sourced from ethical brands and things like that. So everybody has their own values, and rather than forcing mine onto other people, I really love working with my clients to draw out what's most important for them as they're developing out their wardrobes.
I love that. So I took the quiz on your website. We'll definitely put that in the show notes below wherever you're watching. It was amazing and also kind of surprising in a way because my top 3, number 1 was actually dramatic. And then I had classic and elegant underneath, but it was such a fun realization because especially knowing and hearing that you can mix those top selections that you get to create a very unique personal style, I could immediately see, I'm like, oh yeah, that would work. Like they seem contradictory in some sense, but it becomes fun to mix some of these different elements and different styles together to create something unique to you.
Right. And that's really how you can create your own signature look is by finding that perfect combination for you. And most people don't fall into only one category. Some do, or some are really more predominantly one than others. But I also have some really great style combination boards on my Pinterest page. I don't know if you dove into
didn't
those.
Explore, no.
Yeah, so that's a really helpful way to get you started and just visualizing how you can bring those elements together. So I would have one that would be dramatic and elegant, and you can look at what some ideas of that style might be. Of course, putting your own unique spin on it. You can look at what dramatic and classic would be because there are so many differences, and that's where you get those really nuanced styles. So for example, I don't have a quiz result that is bohemian. And a lot of people would describe their style that way, but that would be something I would consider a really natural and creative combination. So you're taking those 2 high-level styles and then funneling them into that kind of look. So that's where it really gets fun, is making it your own.
And as a fellow quiz creator, I have to bow down to you because once you start multiplying the results together, it becomes a whole nother beast in terms of creating assets and content to help people.
Oh,
So kudos to
totally.
you.
Yeah. And I set it up in a way that everyone gets personalized emails then to walk them through the rest of the style system based on what their results were. So it's also really, I pride myself on personalization. I hate giving blanket advice.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important to help people figure out what's actually going to work for them.
Same. It creates a lot of extra work as the content creator, but it is absolutely worth it. And I wanted you to know that I was noticing and appreciating that work that you put into this amazing resource for people. I know that you've said that color plays an incredible role in style. Can you talk to us about color in general, and then we'll dive in a little bit deeper?
Absolutely. That is my favorite thing to talk about. We could have, endless conversation about color. But really, there's been statistics that show that between 62 to 90% of someone's initial impression about either you as a person or your product is based on color alone. So that tells you how significant color really is and what a big impact it has on people psychologically. So I know you talk a lot about color psychology in general. I also love to train my clients in personal color psychology, which is taking your innate color characteristics and using them in a way to communicate the effect that you want to have either, with your business or even just showing up for a coffee date with a friend or a first date, with a potential partner and things like that. There's a lot of cool color tricks that you can use to empower yourself in that way.
Ooh, fun. Can you give me an example?
Absolutely. So one of my favorite to share with people is that wearing your eye color, especially close to your face, so either in a top or in earrings or a scarf, will help give you a more trustworthy and credible appearance.
Really?
Yeah. No matter what your eye color is. And that's such a safe bet because your eye color is naturally going to look great on you. You don't have to worry about, am I getting the exact right hue? If it's in your eye color, it's going to look amazing on you. So I recommend stocking up on that color, whatever it is, in tops and things to layer up top because it will give you that air of credibility and authority. And it's also really great for enhancing eye contact as well, because when you're wearing your eye color, people are naturally going to gravitate back to your eyes. So it's perfect for a job interview or sales calls with clients and things like that.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Sure.
My eye color is actually, it shows up in different lights, but it's gray on my license plate. But I actually do wear a lot of, like the blues and the grays. And that was completely subconscious, but I love that correlation, and somebody did the statistics and the study behind that. That's amazing. So how do you, aside from eye color, how do you start to identify what colors are good for you? Again, let's put our entrepreneur hat back on. Like, how do you decide what like your signature style color might be?
Yeah. So if you're talking about branding, it's definitely, when you're the face of your business, you want to look good next to your business and you want your business to look good next to you. So I think that's one of the key things that's kind of missing a lot of times in developing a brand palette is what looks good on you and is going to put you in your best light. So, there's a lot of basic things that you can do, just figuring out whether you look best in warm, neutral, or cool colors. That's kind of step one. A lot of that comes down to your skin tone. That's the largest determining factor of what color temperatures are going to look best on you. But of course, if you have a really warm hair color, that can pull you in another direction, things like that. So that's a trickier one to figure out. That's what I love to help clients with because there is a lot of confusion around skin tone temperatures. I do have some really great blog articles that I could point you to if you want to link those up in your show notes for people so that they could start to get an idea of what their skin tone temperature might be. So that's kind of step one. You can also consider what metal temperatures look best on you. So if you typically gravitate towards more golds or bronzy metal colors, it's likely that it's because warm colors do flatter you best. I find people typically have a pretty good innate sense of what works well for them. It's rare that I find someone who's genuinely clueless about colors. Usually we know what we feel best in and what we hear the most compliments about. So you can trust yourself when it comes to your colors. But if you are looking for more guidance, what I love to do is create personal color palettes for my clients where I really evaluate, not only their personal color qualities, but looking at what is their personality, what colors are they drawn to, and then creating a unique palette that brings their most flattering hues to light. And then from there, we can say, okay, now what's the visual aesthetic that you want to have with your brand? What message do you want to convey to people? And then from there, we can pull out colors from their personal color palette to put into their brand. So we know that they're going to look amazing on them. The other fun thing about having a personal color palette is that all the colors are designed to be in harmony with one another. So when you're shopping primarily based on those colors, it makes it so much easier to get dressed because everything in your closet just goes seamlessly together.
You are speaking my language, Heather. I love everything about this.
Yay!
Amazing. I've gotten to the point now where this is going to sound terrible, but I'm just going to say it the way that it came up in my mind. But I've trained my husband on what's on brand for me and what's not. So like decor, clothing, he's like, oh, I saw this. And I immediately thought of you. And I'm like, yes. Something is working.
That's such a powerful testament to your branding that he knows. And I'm sure your audience and your clients feel the exact same way. They know when it's you, when they see it.
Yeah. It's so, so powerful.
We're going to get right back to the interview. For the next few seconds, I'm going to share with you my Brand Clarity Collective and how it can help you grow your income and impact. If you're an entrepreneur who feels stuck or uncertain about what makes your brand stand out, then this is for you. The Brand Clarity Collective is a mastermind multiplied by mentorship. It's part online curriculum, part digital mastermind, and it's designed to help you get crystal clear brand clarity so you attract more perfect clients and grow your business. We have a thriving community of entrepreneurs who are all smart and driven. As a member of the collective, you get an all-access pass to all of my best branding courses, as well as access to our private community where you can connect with like-minded entrepreneurs and get feedback and support directly from me on our coaching calls. The Brand Clarity Collective is priced at just $297 per month, and after 6 months, you keep lifetime access to all of the courses. To learn more and to see if it's right for you, head over to my homepage at kayeputnam.com. There's a big section where you can click to learn more. I'll also include the link in the show notes wherever you are listening or watching. All right, let's get back.
I could imagine that there's perhaps a potential tension between, so there's color psychology. So like, for example, greens tend to be focused on growth, or they remind us of nature, and they can be nurturing for that reason. But green could potentially look really bad on you, for example. Is there a way to navigate that? I'm sure there's like different shades, like we can play within the context of both of those arenas, what looks good with your skin and your hair and your eyes, and what we're trying to say as a brand. Have you come across that tension at all?
Yeah, and that's exactly the key, is that you need to find the best option for you. In any color family, there's always going to be an option that works for you. I'll give you an example. Yellow is my favorite color. I love yellow. It makes me so happy. It doesn't really look great on me. I can pull off a pale champagne sort of yellow color, and that's what I would opt for if I wanted to have yellow in my personal brand palette, rather than a really warm, saturated yellow. So part of it is thinking about which temperature is going to work best for you, and then also the saturation or vibrancy of the color. If you are someone who has more muted personal coloring, you're probably going to be overpowered by really strong, bold colors. So it's just finding the ones that are the best for you, and also communicate the psychological effects that you want your brand to carry. So it is kind of a delicate balance of finding that happy medium.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, the beautiful thing about color is that there's this massive spectrum, no pun intended. Like it's just a blue, for example, can communicate many different things. We have this whole playground of blues that we can play in if we know that that's one of our colors. Yeah. So that was just a thing that popped into my mind. I'm sure it would pop into other people's minds as well. I'm curious about your personal color palette. This is such a nitpicky question, but how big is a palette? Like, how many colors do you typically recommend for a client to hone in on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And for me personally, the way that I've developed my own system, there's a lot of different color palette systems out there. Mine's developed from, I don't know if you're familiar with the seasonal color palettes where people are, So that's what I was originally trained in. There's a lot of limitations to that system. That's why I've kind of taken it and put my own spin on it to really work for people in more modern day language and things that are less confusing for clients. So I give everyone 35 of their best colors. It's
amazing.
a digital palette. It's a digital palette. So what's great about that is you can have it on your phone, your laptop, your, iPad, wherever you go, you can always have it accessible to you. You don't have to carry something physical around. And each color in the palette is there for a specific reason. So for some clients, I will give them more or less of a certain category of color. But for example, everyone gets their eye colors. Everyone gets their best whites because pure white is not always the best option for everyone. Everyone gets their skin tone colors, their blush colors, their best reds, things like that. So there are certain colors that are in there and for a reason. And then I love to teach the psychology around how to use those colors to your best advantage, as well as which pieces are going to be best in your wardrobe in those colors. So some are better for a coat, some are better for accessories, some are better for lingerie, things like that. So you really know how to take it and run in a practical way.
I love it. I create brand standard guides for clients. I call them a brand source book. And we do the same thing, but for brands. It's like, okay, here's your colors. Here's the application. I love that you're doing it for style. What a fabulous deliverable. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I know that you recently did a post about people that feel like they're aging out of trends. And a lot of my audience are similar to yours, 30s, 40s, and above. And I mean, all I'm saying is like, I don't know, crop tops and like all of these things that I feel like I don't have permission to wear anymore. So how do you navigate that where you don't want to look out of date, but you also want to embrace the stage of life that you're in?
Yeah. So many of us are in that boat right now where the trends just aren't resonating for us, or they're things that we wore back in maybe high school. And it's like, oh no, I've been there. I'm ready to move on from that now as an adult. But you know what? I'll take it back to you because you said something in one of your videos that really stuck with me. You said truth over trends. And I think that applies here so much as well. It's really being true to yourself and what styles work for you and are flattering to your figure over trying to keep up with the trends, right? Especially if they're geared towards a younger demographic in a lot of cases. So there's always a trend that will work for you. There's so much more than just wide leg jeans and crop tops right now. If you really look at all the trends, and I put together a seasonal trend report twice a year that I always include at least 35 different trends. So there's always something that you can find that will work for you. It's just being aware of what else is going on in fashion. So number one, educating yourself around what's available, and then really knowing what your style is. So once you've taken the quiz and you've really dialed that in and you know what look you like, I think once you're feeling confident about your style, you start worrying a lot less about what everyone else is doing. You're more concerned about showing up authentic to you and in clothes that make you feel amazing. So it's just helpful to have that starting point, and then you can check back in and ask yourself, okay, is this trend really going to work for me? Is it representative of my style and what I'm working on in my life? And having some of those deeper, more honest conversations with yourself rather than just trying to keep up with the masses, if that makes sense.
Yep. Great reminder. This is such a silly example, but Gen Zs are now wearing their socks long and over their leggings at the gym. Yeah. And I cannot bring myself to do it. Like I've tried it at home a few times. Like, can't do it. Just gonna have to rock this millennial mom look, and it's just gonna have to be okay.
I think when you look back at pictures of yourself at this time, you'll be happy that you are true to your own sense of style. And that's the thing, when we're in our 20s, we do have a much more experimental time with our style because we're still figuring out who we are and what we do care about and what is true for us. And that's a much more, not to say fun time, but it's a much more playful time. And then as you mature and get older and get to know yourself better, I think it's such a beautiful thing to have that security of, no, this is how I want to show up now in this new stage of my life, and just being okay with that.
Yeah. And it makes investing in a service like you have even more high leverage because you know that you've kind of settled into your identity. You're comfortable with your story. You're comfortable with your personality. And now you get to express it, and you get to really perhaps even invest into some pieces that are timeless for you, and wear those and love them. And you're hopefully not going to grow out of them or anything.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, it's so much easier to build out your wardrobe when you're not chasing trends, because things will last you so much longer.
Yeah, 100%. Love, love, love all of that. Amazing. So I highly recommend taking the quiz. Can you share where people can find you? And then I have a couple more questions that we're going to end with.
Sure. Yeah. So my website is herstylellc.com, and you can just add /quiz if you want to take that freestyle quiz. The best place to follow me is via my email community. So I am so faithful about showing up for my VIP email community. I put so much effort into sending out weekly content. So you're going to get tons of free tips for me, and everything that I do is personalized. So you can take what works for you and leave the rest. That's the best place. I told you I'm also launching a podcast this month, which will be Her Style Podcast. So I don't know when this is airing, but hopefully there will be some episodes when your people go check that out at that point. And I'm also on social media, on Instagram at Heather Riggs Style. It's not my favorite place to be, but I do check in there. You can absolutely send me a DM over on Instagram if you have any follow-up questions.
I love that. Yes, your podcast should absolutely be live. How's the podcast journey been going?
I've had a lot of delays. I had some health issues and had a couple rounds of laryngitis. So that put me back. I was supposed to launch in October. So I'm already a month behind, but it's all perfect. I'm glad I had a voice to talk with you today, and health is back on track. So it's been an adventure, but I also want to do a YouTube channel simultaneously, but I have released the pressure on myself to do that. So I'm focused on the podcast, and I'm trusting the YouTube will come together in its perfect timing. So yeah, but it's fun. I just love putting content out. I have so many things I want to share, and email is just not enough. So
yeah, I love that. And kudos for giving yourself grace when things don't come together. And I'm glad that you're feeling better. Okay, 2 questions. If you could airdrop an idea or plant a seed in everybody's mind that is watching or listening to this, what would you want everybody to know or believe?
Ooh, that's a great question. And it's a hard one to answer, but I think especially if we're talking about personal style, something that is so important to understand is that everyone can look and feel stylish. It's not a matter of having a bigger budget or a different body or, an inherited sense of style. It's really just about having more intentionality behind when you're shopping and getting dressed. What I would love for people to do is really take the time to hone in on their signature style and do some investigation about which colors are better for them, and do some of that research before your next shopping trip. A lot of times we just feel like, I have nothing to wear. I need to run to the store and grab something. But when we shop without that intention, that's where we really run into the issues of having nothing to wear or feeling like we don't even know what our style is. So it just sometimes takes simply stepping back and answering some of those bigger questions and then diving back in.
Yes. And because my humans that hang out in the same space are rabid learners, they love to learn new things, I love to ask, what is your favorite strategy for learning something new in your business or your life?
Ooh, oh my goodness. This is perfect that we're talking, because I am like a self-growth junkie. My husband gets so annoyed because I always want to be taking more classes and buying more books and working with more coaches, and I just can't get enough. I feel like there's always something to learn. And I think what I have uncovered over the years is that application of that knowledge is so much more important than just having the knowledge. So no matter what medium I'm acquiring something, it's also carving out the time to apply what I'm learning. I just feel like that's a step that I missed for a really long time. And I finally uncovered the power of actually taking a step back, as I just mentioned, and doing something with that knowledge.
Heck yes. Mic drop. Same girl, same. Oh my gosh. I literally just had this conversation on the last call that I was on. We were talking about how in theory, it really makes sense to reach out and to collaborate with people like we're collaborating here on this podcast. But when you actually do it, it's so interesting that all of these feelings can come up. It's like, it feels like asking somebody on a first date. There's just like,
Yeah.
it's different to apply than to just learn. And it's so important. Thank you so much for that reminder. I love that. Amazing. This was incredible. I think you're brilliant. And I'm so excited that I get to share your genius with everybody watching and listening. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I love what you do. And I appreciate that you wanted to get this message out about more, in-depth color psychology and personal style. And I just hope that it serves your audience in a big way. And I'm so honored to have spent this time with you.
I am so intrigued with Heather's process. I am going to be taking her up on finding my own signature color palette. And I'm in awe at how much is possible. Of course, I'm aware of these things as a brand strategist myself, and it's fun to find out that color and psychology and symbolism has implications even beyond our marketing materials, and it matters in how we show up. So I hope you enjoyed Heather as much as I did. I hope you got a lot out of this conversation, and be sure to head over to her site to take her style quiz. It is very insightful, and I would love to hear in the comments what your favorite part of today's show was. Thanks for listening and watching. I will see you next time.